I get what some people's beef is with the tariffs, but I think
Yeah,
after a certain amount of time, it's going to work itself out because in order to get your product back over here, you're going to have no fucking option but to lower it, and you're just going to have to make less profit on your end. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
and I think the it may completely not work out like this, but so with the tariffs, they're going to want to raise prices, right? And the
Yeah.
reason why so much shit is imported is because Americans are expensive, right?
Right.
We don't work for nothing. So, um I think it's either they're going to have to lower their prices or it's going to bring more jobs to America because we're going to be able to manufacture more stuff here and people will pay for it because it's like, all right, well, we can get it the same price here or overseas. So let's just make whatever we can here, you know?
Yeah, I was reading his comments. I'm trying to follow what you were saying because he's agreeing with you. So say that again, like I'm 4 years old, because I was
So
reading something while you were saying it.
right now we don't produce a ton of shit here for the
Right.
American people because it's expensive for labor, right?
Sure.
So tariffs go on other countries that we import stuff from because they have super cheap labor, right?
Sure.
Well, once the tariffs hit and their prices have to raise, they're going to get closer to what we could sell goods for under our labor pay. You know what I mean? So it'll make people want to just start making shit here instead of
Right.
importing it.
But what I think they're gonna do, somebody like China is just gonna make less profit to make sure they're still cheaper than American goods.
Well, they may, you
Well, they're
know.
gonna have to. That's my point. They're not gonna have a choice. That's what it's gonna do. So it's not gonna matter. Like fuck China, let them make less money. But that's what they're gonna have to do if they want to continue selling their shit in the United States. And we're probably the biggest fucking consumers of all the China-made bullshit that comes in, around the world.
Right.
So why would they want to lose that market? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? They make enough money where they can afford to take a pay cut is how it's going to work because they're
Yeah,
not just
because
going to, they're not going to let American labor beat them out. You know what I mean? They're not going
right.
to say, well, we just can't compete now because the Americans are making it. They're going to say, well, we're just going to make less profit or we're going to pay our people even less than what we're paying them now, you know?
Yeah.
So I just don't think the tariffs are going to work out like some people think. I don't think it's going to be a horrible thing. For one, if it's bringing jobs back to the country, even if we were paying a little bit more for
Right.
goods, I mean, it's at least you're bringing the shit back home. But I do
Mhm.
think it's going to work itself out in the end. I just think these other companies need us so bad to buy the shit that they make that they're going to have to drop their prices if they want to get it into the country. Now, I'm sure there's a point, like if the tariffs are just so big to where they just can't, but I just don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
I think it's just going to be a deterrent. You're trying to say, hey, look what I did to bring back American jobs, but I don't think it's going to be so outlandish to where they just can't, afford to take that pay cut. I just don't believe it's going to happen like that. So, can you afford? I can read. I can afford it. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, what no matter what I feel about it or what you feel about it, Reed, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I'm just saying what I think, the scenario is going to play out to be. I can't stop Trump from doing it. So my thoughts on it is it's just going to, like I said, eventually force these other places that are seeing that they're not selling anything to America. Well, they're not going to live with that. They're going to do whatever they got to do to get their goods back over here. I don't think
Right.
you realize how much of the shit we buy and how huge of a market we are for these people. So, if
Yeah.
prices go higher under Trump than Biden, what would you think? It depends. If it stayed like that for his entire term, then I'd say, well, that wasn't a good move. Whatever he did was wrong. But see, that's
Yeah.
the difference between me and a lot of people out there is no matter what happened under Biden, people will not say that he did a shitty job. No matter what happened under whatever party they go for, that's who they're going to go to bat for every time. I'm
Right.
not I'm not going to sit here and praise all hail Trump. It's not about that. I just think that his policies for the country are going to work out to be better than what we've been seeing over the past 4 years. But if he's fucking up, we'll get on here and talk about it. I mean,
Then
it
he's
is what it
fucking
is.
up. Yeah.
We don't owe Trump shit, you know what I mean? So That's all. I just think it's and this is more directed towards Reed. I just think this tariff shit is going to work itself out.
I think so too,
I think
but
we're too important to the economy of other countries around the world. I think we're just too damn important for them to lose that over a few dollars or whatever. It's just my beliefs. I mean, I'm not a fucking financial strategist by any means for these countries. I just don't think they're going to risk losing that. So, you think young white men are going to pick fruit in California? No. Mexicans ain't going nowhere. You could still come over
no,
here. What do you I don't understand. What do you think? Trump's going around rounding up every Mexican in the country? You just got to do it legally. I mean, you could come over here on a green card and work, you know.
any non-white man is going somewhere.
You would think he's coming with a paddy wagon and picking up, you know. Reed, I hope. Look, man, I know you want it to be true so bad. I guess you're super anti-Trump, but or you might just be anti-Republican or whatever. But I'm not. I'm registered independent, so I'm not here to fight for the Republicans or for Trump. I just believe what I believe right now and hoping for the best, rooting for whoever's running the country, and that's all we can do. But anyway, Justin, what else is new?
What else is new, man? Hmm, I don't know.
What is this? Baker Mayfield,
Uh,
Bucks quarterback Baker Mayfield files nearly a $12 million lawsuit against his father's company. You got a little beef going on. That ought to be an interesting Thanksgiving. Let's see.
Tables getting flipped.
Let's see what they're talking about. A 29-year-old NFL star filed a civil lawsuit Friday in a U.S. District Court for the Western District of Texas for $11.7 million. The suit alleges that from 2018 to 2021, Camwood Capital Management Group transferred more than $12 million from Mayfield and his wife. I wish I had $12 million for somebody to fucking transfer. But anyway,
Dude,
without his authorization, proper documentation, or adequate accounting for the transactions. So yeah, that is kind of sketchy. I guess his daddy ran that, but goddamn, I wish I had $12 million for somebody to take because
yeah,
it probably took him a minute to catch it.
absolutely. His accountant had to go through the
Yeah,
books and was like, Baker, did you
yeah,
spend $12 million?"
that's crazy. For a period of time, his funds were being funneled to the defendants. Plaintiffs were the primary source of funding, and yeah, so it went on for a while, and I'm thinking, good God Almighty, it must be nice to have that kind of bank account.
Yeah,
Damn.
I wish.
Yeah.
Motherfuck.
Read one more thing to read. Read. Stop hoping for the worst because that's all politics has turned into. Is I no matter if my side ain't running the country, I hope they fail. That's the dumbest mindset ever. You know what I mean? I hope you're back in a few months to say, hey, I was wrong. Things are good. The country's going great. That's what I hope, no matter who's running it. But keep playing them teams, buddy. What I can promise you is the people you are rooting for don't give a fuck about you. So do your thing. But
Mm-mm.
anyway, this not turn this into the Reed show. So let's see what else going on in the news.
Ugh, nothing,
TikTok
man.
influencer arrested after posting videos with allegedly shoplifting Target haul. Yeah, why would you? These people do anything for clout on the internet, huh?
They do too. I see so
Five
much
hundred
of
dollars
that.
worth, $500 worth of shit from Target. So he got a couple rolls of toilet paper and some hand soap or something. Let's see. Posted her. Oh, it's a her. Oh, that's why it's 360,000 followers. So she had to do dumbest shit she could figure out to do.
Like,
Wow. Not giving this bitch no more attention, and that's what she wanted.
I don't I don't understand it. Like, I'm gonna film myself doing a ton of illegal shit and hope for the best.
And I guess the little slap on the wrist is, worth all the views that she got. I don't know, but what else? I'm just scrolling X. Y'all don't mind me. Time is 8:20.
There's nothing going on except for fucking Hezbollah
Right. Which I mean, I guess that's no news is
and
good news because you're right. It's been kind of boring, man, the past week or so. I mean, at least in our side of the world. I'm sure there's some places that are fucking hellholes right now, but for us, it's been pretty non-active. Trump's appointing a few people that they're bitching about, of course, and fighting every which way, but nothing too crazy, man. Guess that's
nothing at
good.
all.
No. I'm just scrolling and shit. But anyway, all right. Massachusetts man pleads guilty. I don't want to see that. Family of woman fatally shot by police officer given $20 million settlement. Jesus Christ. $20 million.
For
I'm
what?
trying to uh apparently the police killed a woman and the family got $20 million in a settlement. And I'm trying to think which family member would I like to, would trade for 20 million? I'm sure I can name a couple.
Probably. Yeah.
$20 million. Like one of y'all are taking a hit. Sorry.
You'd be like that cartel member.
20 fucking mil. Don't bring their loved one back, but good God Almighty, does it make your life a little less stressful?
I'm telling you. I was I was speaking of stress, but um I was watching a documentary on a medical trial that went down, and it was like the early 90s um in England, and it was a first to man medical trial. So it's a select group of people, and it's basically you're testing the first time that this drug has been used on people, period. Right? Like
Right,
it's coming from the lab from animals. Now we're gonna try it on people. Let's go. And so I think there was 8 of them, and 6 of them were given the drug, 2 were given a placebo. And they give them the drug. After about 20 minutes, headaches start kicking in, and um, cold sweats, fucking like people are just going downhill. Livers start failing, kidneys start failing. In the hospital, everything's all fucked up. They're running around, and you can see the 2 people that had the placebos are just like, what the what the fuck? Like, what is going on? Well, it triggered a response. Long story short, in their immune system, that their immune system just went overboard and started attacking their bodies. But I say that to say, what would it take for you to join a first to man medical
man.
study?
I've always thought about like who are these people that sign up for these trials. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Because they'll test out a medicine like you're talking about or a vaccine or something, and they'll find 1,000 people or whatever, if not more. And I'm like, who in the fuck are the ones that say, yeah, you can experiment on me?
right.
I never understood that because it's not like they're paying you enough to where you're just wealthy and never have to work again
No,
the rest of your life. I mean, it's nothing. You know what I
no.
mean?
I
They
think
pay
these
you
people came out with like $2,200 a piece or something,
2,200 to something that could possibly fucking kill you or give you
and it
some
almost
lifelong
did.
ailment. Yeah. Man, it's always blown my mind. Like, I don't know what type of people,
Right.
I guess I don't want to say crazy, but my God, I mean, why would you want to be the guinea pig,
And one
you
of the
know?
ones in that particular trial was a retired doctor.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's bad. Because I mean, he
that's
knows
yeah,
that's got to
and
be.
a medical trial, I guess, is one thing of like, hey, we're on to the point where we're picking, 2,000 people in different places of the country to see how it affects different races versus, people from here versus people from here and genetics and da da da. We've been through 15 trials on this drug already, but a first to man medical trial. You are the first 6 people this has ever been used on. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know
I
what
don't
it
know what
because
it would take.
you've got to try shit out on people eventually.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I just don't know what would entice anyone to want to be that person. That's so strange to me, you
it
know,
really is.
and we need those people to take
Mhm.
them,
Yeah,
you know, somebody's got to take it for the team. But, I just and you know the worst part about it, those kind of trials and all that shit that they do. I mean, all these pharmaceutical companies, they're allowed to hand over whatever they want to the FDA.
yeah,
They do these private studies, and they're not required to hand over everything. So
right.
it's all for nothing. I don't even know why they do these fucking trials. They might as well say, "Oh, it's 100% safe here,"
Yeah, I guess just to make
because
sure you don't drop like you're taking cyanide, you know?
yeah, I guess they because I mean I'm sure some of it's done with good intentions, but a lot
Yeah,
of it's done just for profit. You know what I mean? And once they
yeah,
became untouchable when it comes to being held accountable for what they do, Reagan was the one who put that into law. Because these pharmaceutical companies were basically saying we can't keep developing these vaccines that may do good for the world if we're going to be held liable for people that it fucks up. You know what I mean?
right.
So they were like, all right, well, we'll just go ahead and pass a law to where nobody, is going to go to jail for it or whatever. And then that was it. And the rest was history with
Yeah,
these pharmaceutical companies. So it's like it was put into place for a good reason because nobody would want to develop anything anymore because they're like, well, I'm not going to get sued or go to prison every time somebody gets sick from this shit. So y'all
right.
got to do something to if y'all want us to keep developing this Western medicines, and they did it, and then it led to nothing but them being able to push out shit like they did with the COVID vaccine within a
Yep,
couple months. Here, throw it out, because they're untouchable. It's
right,
crazy.
and I was listening to a lady kinda talk about the same thing this morning, and, so for one, they're trying to do like, recently trying to start researching how many medical studies are and aren't reported,
Right.
and they say it's hard to get a clear number because there is no registry of the medical trials that happen, like, there is none, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
The only thing that they do right now is they're going to, like, medical trial banks where you make a new drug and then you'll send it to this central place and they'll send it out as like a newsletter to doctors saying, hey, do you want to participate and administer this drug? So
Right.
they're going to those and they're trying to get just as many trials as they can, and they say about 50% do report, 50% aren't reporting anything on their study.
So That's
um
that's horrible.
yeah, they said there's 3 times as many good outcome drugs are reported than bad outcome drugs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which leads to there were 2 drugs that she mentioned in specific, and one of them in the trial showed that you were 10 times more likely to die of the drug than of the ailment that the drug was curing in this
Right.
trial, and they didn't release those and put the drug out there. And then another one was kind of like a Theraflu type thing,
Right.
and it was coming out. They did all their trials and whatnot. They released what they wanted, and somebody in like the UK government talked the government into investing in the stock of this drug company. They were like, "Look, we went through their trials. It's looking good. It looks great. We need to, get." So they invested 400 million into the stocks of this company, and then 10 years after the fact they finally subpoenaed the full set of drug trials, and it basically showed that the drug did nothing at all. So they wound up losing a ton of money on it. But yeah, so that's how we're
It, it
treating.
it's just so crazy that I mean, what they're allowed to get away with as far as these drug
Yeah,
companies. You know what I mean? It's so crazy. Shit like you're saying, where 50% of the trials are actually turned in. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's like, what happened in the other 50% to where they didn't want to? You know what I'm
right,
saying? Imagine how bad it was. And then, like we touched on earlier, there's people out there that were in those trials that they didn't report. You know what I
right.
mean? So it's like, what happened to these people? You know?
Yeah, it's
I mean,
you
hell,
would think there'd be some regulation around it.
just them being able to, like I say, turn in whatever the reports they want to return in to the
Yeah,
FDA. When they go to get a drug approved, they'll have a private kind of trial and test run with it, and then they're able to turn in whatever documents they want to the FDA and fudge those numbers in any way they need to get the FDA to to pass it. I mean, it's a very, very sick game, man.
It really
It's just too
is.
much, just too much money behind it, so
Yeah.
all it did was breed a ton of corruption, and I don't
Yeah,
know how
I
you
think
change
that's
that.
where the legal part needs to step in. It's like, you know, we'll protect you as a company and as a doctor if
Right.
people willingly come in, sign forms, and they happen to die of this drug. Like, yes, we'll protect you, you know.
Yeah.
But if you fucking lie to us and we find out, now
Well,
you're gonna face it, you know.
yeah, and I think a lot of that was what drove the Sackler family with the OxyContin out of business was that,
Yeah,
they were, you know, they were sued and basically gotten so much shit because they were caught lying. You know what I mean? Over
yeah,
time, it was proven that they were lying about
saying
the
it wasn't
addiction,
addictive.
yeah, and all that shit. So they were somewhat held accountable. Not, but nobody went to jail for it.
Yeah.
They just got hit for so much fucking money that I guess it just kind of drove them. I want to say out of the business, but I doubt they just got out of it.
No,
You know what I mean?
yeah, I think they started making other drugs, and I believe they were making some other opiates before the OxyContin came, right?
But before the oh yeah, 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 they weren't yeah, that wasn't the first and only thing they were doing.
It may have been like Lortabs or something like that. It was some other
Yeah.
big name,
Yeah,
opiate that they were making.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not sure, but I do know, like I said, they caught a lot of shit with that, and it took them a while, but they finally busted them. And like I said, I guess got enough shit to where the company went out, but they were allowed to get away with it with no legal repercussions,
right.
so to say. You know what I mean? Because somebody should have been in fucking prison, but because of the laws that were passed, they're not able to prosecute them like that. I guess you can sue them, but as far as being prosecuted, I guess that's a totally different thing that just can't happen. I mean, they're immune to it. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't know what good they thought was gonna come out of that, you know?
and they still
But
haven't changed anything as far
no,
as I'm
nah,
aware, you
hell
know? I
no.
mean,
No, because I like I said, I kinda see their point, it's like you would stop a lot of, any kind of initiative to wanna create life, changing or life helping drugs and vaccines because you're afraid of the legal repercussions, you know? And I get
yeah.
that to a certain extent. I mean, I get it, but
Well,
I
and
mean,
I get it, but it's like, as long as you're being honest about the whole thing, like, will protect you. But the
yeah.
second that you're lying to make a profit and saying that it's not going to harm people, there's nothing that shows it's going to harm people. And then we find out later down the road that it did.
Well, I think the problem with that is the FDA won't pass it if it has to meet in certain criterias for the FDA to allow it to go to the market. So
Right.
they have to fudge these numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not saying all of them, because I'm sure there's a lot of medicines out there that the good outweighs the bad, so they don't have to fudge the numbers. But there's a lot of them that they do in order for it to get passed by the FDA or approved.
Right.
So I think that's part of that problem. It's that if they tell the truth, a lot of this shit won't get passed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's a lot of money that goes into marketing and researching and all that shit when it comes to these drugs. So they don't want to sit there and piss all that money away for it for 9 out of 10 of them to fail. So
Yeah.
therefore they're allowed to run their own test, which that right there can knock out a lot of it if they would just have an independent source that had to come in and look at all the trials that they did and all the results. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they don't have to right now. They
Yeah.
basically turn over what they want to, you know. It's crazy.
It's nuts.
And now they have so much power and so much money. You're not changing that. They're in the fucking pockets of so many congressmen. You know what I mean? It,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's or line in the pockets of too many congressmen. They'll never get that law changed.
Absolutely. Um, what's up with Butterball sexually assaulting the chickens, the turkeys?
Well, I saw the headline and I passed it up, but were they really being accused of that?
Yeah, apparently it was a 2006 PETA undercover investigation that they did, and they released like some video, some PETA video that at the warehouse, and apparently some workers were actually sexually assaulting the fucking turkeys, and just
They were probably being stupid, huh? Like sticking their fingers in the fucking holes while they were. I
Probably.
just
I
can't
never
imagine they
looked at
caught
it,
somebody
but
fucking a chicken. I just can't. I
because they
just can't
said they were
imagine that.
also like fucking the turkeys up. So I assume that they're talking about turkey corpses more than live turkeys
Yeah, that's what
because they
I'm
were
thinking.
like,
That is.
they fucking slam them against poles or whatever and shit. And
It was probably guys being stupid, like, "Hey,
yeah,
look," sticking their finger in it, and of course, PETA, they're already got it out for everybody who produces any kind of animal meat. So, that's what I would think, opposed to them catching somebody doing some dirty shit, with a
yeah.
turkey, because that
In
shit
a
right there
production
would've.
line.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think it was people just being stupid and being funny, and I'm like, "Turkey's fucking dead. It's a carcass."
Yeah.
You
So
look, give these people something to do during fucking work to kinda, have some kind of amusement.
So they say it comes up every year. The videos start getting shared, so people like return their butterball turkeys to the store in masses and shit.
Oh, Lord. I don't give it as long as they well, I don't know. It depends on what they were doing to it, I guess, whether or not I'd
Yeah.
return mine.
Like,
I mean, I don't want.
is this one of those turkeys
Yeah, is this the
or
one he had his dick in or just his fingers? Man, anyway. Anyway, alright. Well, let's fucking wrap it up. We've talked enough
Yep.
shit, and we'll get back at it probably Thursday or so. Let some
Hell
news
yeah.
break. Like I said, it's been a boring fucking week,
It
man.
really
And I
has.
know it's early in the week, but I consider my week fucking, the last 5, 6, 7 days. I've been kind of paying attention to the news cycle. Not
Yep.
much going on. Maybe we can get some
Not at
excitement
all.
ramped up. I'm ready for January. Once that inauguration comes, I think, shit'll get back, because that's when they're really gonna start things are gonna go back to getting dirty, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I was
So
waiting on the political news to end, but I didn't think it was gonna turn into fucking nothing.
nothing. Yeah, I was too. I was kind of waiting on it to die off. Everybody was just kind of over it, needed a break, and then it went to absolutely nothing, man. It's
Nothing.
crazy. So,
Anyway.
yep. All right. Well, we'll get back at it soon. BSing with the guys. We will see y'all later.
Later.